Hello, guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Skills and Abilities. Today we're going to be looking at the last Barbarian skill. I know, clap. You guys hate the Barbarian. You hate him. Don't lie, you hate him, and you're glad to see the skills and abilities for the Barbarian go. Don't even pretend. The last ability that we're going to be going over is Concentrate. Concentrate is a rather interesting ability. You can actually build an entire character around it, and it is a single target ability, and a lot of the Barbarian's abilities are. Even Whirlwind, for all its amazingness, is still literally just a single target ability. It's just a single target ability that attacks really fast. And, it's one of those abilities, though, that does pair up very well with other abilities, specifically Berserk, because of the synergy bonuses for Concentrate. If you look at Concentrate, Concentrate has a Battle Order synergy, and it also has a Berserk synergy, which means that if you put 20 points into Battle Orders and 20 points into Berserk, you'll have a level 20 Berserk, and one of the synergies for Berserk is also Battle Orders, which means that you are looking at a very nice Berserk along with a very nice Concentrate. Now, granted, there are some synergy differences. Berserk has a 10% magic damage per level from Howl, and Concentrate has a 5% damage per level from Bash. But to be honest with you, the 5% damage per level from Bash isn't even really that great. And yeah, you can definitely build it and bring it up higher, but as you can see, I'm currently at 415% damage increase with Concentrate, and if I throw 20 points into Bash, I'm at 510. So, like, in the grand scheme of things, it's not like a huge, massive increase, and I'm not entirely 100% sure that it's worth 20 points. Maybe some of the extra points that you have left over, once you're finished leveling your character, when you have everything the way that you want it, then maybe throw your extra points into Bash, but it doesn't seem like specifically you should just like dump points there. The other thing with Concentrate is that, like Frenzy, that has a magic damage per level percentage increase, it does not actually increase your damage. So I know that it says plus percentage, but what it really means is convert. And this is part of the issue with the Berserk magic damage bonus, is it doesn't actually give you bonus damage. What it does is it converts a percentage of your physical damage into magic damage, just the same way that Berserk does. So if you build 20 points into Berserk, you do not gain any damage whatsoever to the Concentrate skill. It does not increase the damage output. It merely takes the physical damage and converts it into magic damage of a 20%. So it's 80 to 20% split if you max out Berserk with Concentrate. Now, you will get a small damage bump versus most monsters. However, physical damage can go down to negative 100%. So with something like Amplify Damage, or Decrepify, or various things that can reduce the resistance of a monster below 100%, or below 0, anything that will get the monster into the negatives will actually increase your damage higher than the magic damage that it's giving you, which means that in some situations, versus a monster maybe that's physically immune, or versus a monster that has very high physical resistance, the magic damage will be an increase. But actually, when you are utilizing things like Amplify Damage and Decrepify to increase your damage output physically, it will actually be a decrease in your overall damage output, because those monsters are now in the negatives for physical damage, and 20% of your damage is no longer physical, which means you'll be losing damage in those situations. Concentrate does have some pretty amazing effects, though, and I feel like we do need to talk about what Concentrate does better than pretty much everything else on the tree. Nothing on this tree, including Berserk, can do the same things that Concentrate does, and as we talk about it, you'll understand why Concentrate can actually be the main skill for a Barbarian. The first thing that Concentrate does, that is the most important thing that Concentrate does, and why it gains its name, Concentrate, is that it has the ability to prevent any monster from interrupting your attack. It doesn't matter what the monster does, whether they're stunning or knocking you back, or whether they have any kind of like chilling effects or freezing effects. When you were using the Concentrate ability, the monsters cannot interrupt you. And this also goes for PvP as well. It is an uninterruptible ability, and uninterruptible abilities basically during the process of actually swinging your weapon, nothing can stop you from completing that attack. And this is great for melee characters because you don't want to be interrupted. The Amazon, which was a travesty until they finally fixed her evades, she had an ability called Fend. And Fend, you could use it to attack multiple monsters, but she would constantly get interrupted while she was doing it. And the more she got interrupted, the less damage she did, the less lifesteal she got. Eventually, she would just die. And so having an ability that you can guarantee that is 100% uninterruptible is absolutely amazing, because you don't have to ever worry about, not connecting that attack. Now, granted, you still have to have attack rating and you still have to actually hit the target, but you don't have to worry about being interrupted in the process of trying to make the attack hit the target. Another thing that Concentrate does that is actually pretty amazing is it increases your defense while it is in use. As you can see right now, I have 15,737 defense, which is pretty insane. And if I hold down the button, you'll notice that I now have 31,229. Now, whenever you are in the attack, your defense is increased. And as long as you are attacking, your defense is increased permanently during that time period. And 31,000 defense is a lot of defense, but that's not even as high as it goes. If you combine it with things like Shouts, the Chilling Armor proc from Fortitude, a decent shield, a good amount of block chance and things like that, you can literally make a Barbarian that is nigh unkillable in terms of physical damage attacks. As you can see right now, I'm at 47,945 defense with a 9% chance that a Hellcat will hit me. And I could probably bring that down even more. If I were to utilize other pieces of equipment, maybe beef up specifically my war cries more than they are, which my war cries are only level 30. You could definitely get Shout to a much higher level than level 30. I could also maybe pop a few more points into Iron Skin just to really stack on the defense to a higher level. And I probably could get it to the maximum mischance of 95%, which is a guaranteed. Remember, all monsters have a guaranteed 5% chance to hit you. There's no way you can go any lower than 5%, and I'm already at 8% right now, at 55,691 defense, which is already just absolutely insane. And this is in no way the most defensive, tankiest Barbarian that you could build. You could stack on other items that would give you more resistances. You could use absorbing items like Ravenfrost and things like that. You could stack on physical damage reduction in the form of things like Storm Shield or String of Ears, Verdungo, those types of things. And by the time you're done, your Concentrate Barbarian would be the tankiest, most unkillable monster that probably ever existed in Diablo, with a defense level so high that Bale probably couldn't even scratch your armor. And then on top of that, you could stack on other things like 75% block chance. You could grab your resistances up higher, maybe throw on a Guardian Angel or something like that. Maybe a F upgraded Guardian Angel for even more defense, and then increased capping resistances and things like that. And granted, your attack damage might not be so great, but Grief tends to fix that for most abilities anyway. You can't really see how much damage I'm doing because I'm using a Grief, and Grief doesn't actually show up on the screen. Let me put on a weapon that would give you more of an idea of how much damage I'm actually doing. I have a Perfect F Zotted Flesh Ripper, which is going to be less damage than a Grief. It will be. But at least it'll give you a better idea of the kind of damage output that I'm doing, which is 5,340. And then, of course, I have the crit chance and the deadly strike and things like that, which means that it's even higher than that. So I could be dishing out anywhere between 10 to 20k damage, depending on what kind of weapon I'm using, my modifiers, whether I have things like High Lords on and whatnot. And of course, it's a pretty fast attack too. So, if you're in the Uber zone, maybe you're killing Uber Mephisto or Uber Bale or Pandemonium Diablo, as you're attacking, you're also applying your crushing blow, your open wounds, your deadly strike. You know, you're getting off multiple things going on at the same time. And, you know, this isn't Whirlwind. You can actually proc effects. So if you have any effects to proc on your abilities, like maybe if you were utilizing something that had static field, like Crescent Moon, or maybe you were utilizing Voice of Reason, or any other number of things, you could definitely get some nice proc effects as well along with this setup. Maybe Atmoscarab for amplify damage. And as you're building this massive concentrate barbarian and trying to get the best out of this ability, you know, you just kind of lean into what concentrate is, which is, you know, it's literally just damage. It's defensive, right? The entire thing is defensive. And then on top of that, when you do come across those physically immune monsters, you don't necessarily have to have amplify damage or decrepify, because you also, in building concentrate and getting it to its maximum value, you are also going to have a maxed out, well, close to maxed out berserk, which can also kill monsters relatively easy. So, you know, say if you're in Arcane Sanctuary and you're an item find barbarian or something like that, and you're in here having fun and you come across those occasional ghosts, you know, you're going to be able to walk right through the ghosts with berserk. Sir. Die. See if I can get a couple of these ghosts over here. Come here, ghosties. Now, of course, when you're berserking, you have no defense, but you can always swap back and forth so you don't just die immediately. And as you can see, I mean, I'm killing them slowly. It takes a little while. This is P8, of course, so do keep that in mind as you pay attention to like how much damage I'm outputting. But I can't lifesteal and I can't mana steal from these guys. But that was a nice little healthy pack in P8. And as you can see, even without fully maxed out Berserk, just from the synergies that are applied by building Concentrate, I still could handle the ghosts with pretty much no problem. And I mean, it's an interesting ability. It definitely works well with Berserk, and I think Berserk Barbarians would probably be better off using Concentrate for the most part until they actually needed Berserk. And that's the cool thing about Berserk, is that while Berserk is, you know, a nice ability to have, you can also obviously have another ability which makes you a lot tankier, a lot stronger in most situations. You know, like say for instance you're going up against the Travancore Council in Act 3, you know, you're obviously going to want to use Berserk because there's a couple monsters in there that are physical immune. They love to spawn Stone Skin. Definitely causes some issues with this particular character. So when you come in here and you're fighting, you can totally use the Berserk to help kill those monsters. But Concentrate is definitely going to be a lot safer as you're fighting the Council. I mean, as you can see, I can pretty much just stand here and just, like, not even worry about the Council even being around me or doing anything. And this is far from, like, an optimal build in terms of, like, damage output. And when I come across that particular monster that's Stone Skin, I can swap it up and I can use Berserk on that particular monster and take them out. In P1, P3, P4, like, this would be a lot easier in general. And I don't really have this character set up properly, like, at all. He's using a lot of IK pieces. He does have a Fortitude on, which is nice. His shield is not a Storm Shield. He's utilizing Spirit Ward, which is the elite ward shield. And, you know, like, it's just a very safe ability, you know? Like, I mean, as you can see, P8 Trav, I'm having absolutely no trouble against P8 Trav on a Barbarian that's not even set up properly. Like, he's really not even set up properly for Trav. I mean, if you take a look at his equipment, he's got an IK crown, he's got IK gloves, IK boots, he's wearing an IK belt, he has the Spirit Ward shield, Mara's, and he does have a Grief, which is really just where most of his damage is coming from. He's wearing a Bull Kathos and a Ravenfrost, but this isn't even like an optimal setup, and he has no charms. He's got no You know, no little damage additional charms, no Warcry skillers, no plus max damage charms, nothing that's going to help him out there. He's using no mercenary, which mercenaries come in extremely handy, especially if you're utilizing things like Might or Holy Freeze or, you know, whatever particular aura that you want. Um, and just in general, it's just a very nice ability. Its main downside, what is the main downside of a concentrate, which I feel like we do need to talk about? It's a single target attack. And that's kind of like the main problem with all of the Barbarian skills. They're single target attacks. Most of them are just single target attacks. Bash is a single target attack that also has knockback, which makes it terrible. Stun is a single target attack, which has like nothing going for it whatsoever. Concentrate is a single target attack, which is honestly like 1,000 times better than both stun and bash in just about every way. Berserk, also a single target attack. Leap attack, a single target attack. The only abilities in here that don't attack monsters one at a time is Double Swing, and it does 2, and Frenzy, which does 2. And Whirlwind, for all of its bluster, literally is still a single target attack. Like, a lot of people don't realize that about Whirlwind when they think about it, because the fantasy of it is that it's this AoE ability that attacks all these monsters at the same time. But the truth is it's really, at its core, it's just a single target ability which stabs really fast. I mean, it's just literally just attacking very, very quickly. But for the most part, it's literally just hitting one monster at a time as you whirlwind around. And the slower your weapon, the more you see it. Like, you literally will watch it, like, just go, okay, bonk, 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 bonk. And that's nothing that Concentrate and Berserk can't do anyway. You run around, and if you have fast enough attack speed, you're running around and you're going bonk, 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 bonk. And literally, you're getting the same effect that Whirlwind is doing, as long as you're attacking quickly enough and, you know, hitting as many targets as you possibly can. But the silly thing is you don't want to hit as many targets as you possibly can. You usually want to finish off the target that you're on. And in many ways, the way that Whirlwind works is it spreads the damage out too much to too many targets, whereas you could take that same amount of time and attack one target like 30 times instead of, 30 targets one time each, which is, kind of silly. Overall, I am impressed with Concentrate. It's definitely one of those abilities that I might want to work into one of my characters. I have a double sting Barbarian who had to build 20 points in Bash for double swing, which is the only way I was able to get the 200% damage bonus on double swing. And since Bash is also a synergy for Concentrate, and Battle Orders is a synergy for Concentrate, it could be an interesting kind of a skill to work into that build, just so that I have a kind of like a safety ability. Like if I get in the middle of a bunch of monsters and I don't want to die, and I'd like to have a massive defense bump, maybe Concentrate could be that, safety net. I think that's pretty much it for this ability. It's definitely a fun one. As always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching my videos, even when we are concentrating so much. And as always, keep watching.